Welcome to the WRC podcast. I'm your host, Katrina Marie, and you're in the right place. Here at the Well-Rounded Counselor podcast, what you can expect is to learn, shift your thinking, and gain personal and professional growth. And if you have not yet done so, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another podcast episode. The conversation starts now. What's up, everybody? It's me, Katrina Marie, your host here on the WRC podcast, and I'm so excited to be coming to you almost 1 year later since I last recorded my last episode. And this is something that has been on my mind for some time. Like, how do I come back to my podcast? How do I feel inspired to create new content, new ideas, new topics for my listeners, and to grow my audience and to grow the following of the well-rounded counselor movement? This is something that I am very passionate about. And right now, funny enough, I'm on spring break from my current school. And this was a time where I really wanted to get back to my roots, where my vision was, the direction I want to go, rebranding, all of the above. And there's quite a few things that have been happening behind the scenes, and I'm super excited, and I'll get to that in a minute. But I'm really, really thankful for this time that I have right now, this gift of time where I can actually work on some of these passion projects and bring more delicious, amazing content and resources for people who want to grow, who want to evolve, who want to become better than what they are today. And I know that life is a lifelong journey of learning. Just like my last episode, if you haven't listened to it, it was literally April 10th, 2022 when I last recorded my previous podcast episode. So go back and listen to that. It's called Me Search, Life is Our PhD. And if that topic is of interest to you, then what I will be sharing with you will also probably be of interest to you as well. Uh, so today I wanted to come onto my podcast and just kind of update you a little bit about my life, what's happening, where I'm at personally and professionally, where I am going with this, and some exciting things. So today's topic is about university counselor fly-in opportunities. This is something that if you're not familiar with, you should get familiar with. If you are a university college counselor, this topic will be particularly fascinating to you. If you are somebody who is looking to get into this field, this might be of interest to you. So I encourage you to pay attention and maybe take some notes. So last week, I had the opportunity, on my time off, by the way, I had the opportunity to go visit American University at Paris during my spring break. And although it was just a 2-night trip, I am really, really thankful I got the opportunity to go. And yes, I got to learn a lot about the university. I got a lot out of the campus visit, meeting students, understanding what kind of student is a good fit, all of the above. But what I realized, what I think was the most important big takeaway for me was um, is that somebody as an adult who has lived abroad for 10 years has a community of educators just like myself, also living abroad for years, decades, making this a career, making this a community. And when I and the other counselors were introducing ourselves to each other, mind you, these are counselors from literally all over the world, from Mexico to Korea. Like when I say all over the world, we are literally from all over the world. And what I found so cool was this common thread of, yes, the university fly-ins bring us together and it teaches us about a new institution, but it helps me and probably other educators realize that we're a unique breed. Like we are just cut from a different fabric. We've created and curated this life of living internationally, evolving in a career that nobody would ever think you get to travel. Like if I was back in the US, I probably wouldn't be traveling as much as I am, considering time off and stuff. But because of the opportunities of these fly-ins, they give counselors like us the opportunity to grow, and it gives us the opportunity to connect with others, like a tribe of people. Like we are like, how do I put this? We're this international community. It's like unspoken community of educators who don't really call their previous home home anymore. Does that even make sense? So, like my home, where I grew up, where I was born and bred, is Los Angeles, California. But now that I've lived abroad for 10 years, I call home LA, but I don't really feel that sense of home anymore. Like, I feel like home is where my stuff is, and my stuff is here in Dubai, if that makes any sense. That's where my routine is. This is where my family, excuse me, my friends, not my family, my friends, and my work is, my routine. And when I say home, it's almost like it's not really this idea of home for me. It's just where my family is and where my upbringing was. And although I've been away for a decade, the connection of possibly moving back gets less and less over the years as they go by. And I don't know, that dreaded question of when are you ever going to move back? Do you see yourself moving back? It's such a hard question for me to answer because there's something so special. And I think only those who've actually lived abroad, worked abroad for a significant amount of time would understand. When I say significant, 6 months or more. Okay, I'm not saying like 1 month, 6 months or more. When you really get to know a community, a country, a city, very different than where you grew up, where you lived most of your life. When you really get to know a new place and that becomes your normal, um, and it works out for you and you're thriving, and that's where you're making connections and your professional network is there and people can associate you with that location, that's when you know you're on the right track, I feel like. That's when I feel like, right, these are my people, like, they get me and I get them. And it was so funny because as people were introducing each other, we also got to talk to the students, and the students mirrored this lifestyle. It was so cool because although I knew this intellectually and although I knew that, um students are studying abroad, but a city like Paris, for example, it's a you know, Western Europe. It's close to the Americas, close to the Middle East. It's kind of in that happy medium. Obviously, it's right in the center of Europe, Western Europe. So you're getting people from all over attracted to studying and living there. And the students that I met with were all North American and one European. And they all had this similar mindset. They just wanted something different for their life. They wanted an adventure. They wanted to get out of their familiar environment. They wanted to grow. They wanted to get uncomfortable and see where that leads them. And I was like, wow, this is me. I feel like I'm looking at me right now. I feel like I'm looking in a mirror and these kids are saying everything that I once felt, and they're doing it at a much younger age. And I found that so incredibly amazing because I resonated with their message. I understood the struggles and the challenges that they faced and still will continue to possibly face because even if you've lived abroad for many, many years, you still have to deal with life sometimes on your own, away from family, and miss out on life events like birthdays, weddings, baby showers, all of that. So, um, yeah, so I found this really interesting, and then all the adults that were like, "Yeah, I moved abroad and, I studied abroad," or, "My life took me here, here, and here, and then I met my partner, and now my kids were born in this country, and we now live in that country," and I'm just like, "Oh my god, that is gonna be me. That is gonna be me 1,000%," and anybody that might be listening to this message, maybe that's you as well, where you left your country, you met your partner, you ended up having kids in another location that's not the same location of where you grew up or your partner grew up, and you created this life that's a very international outlook. Your skills, what you bring to the table, your experiences are a culmination of you not staying in your bubble, you not staying in your comfort zone, and you taking that ultimate risk of getting out of what is familiar and safe. And I go back to this idea of when I was younger and I used to drive along the 405 freeway. Any of my listeners know what the 405 freeway is in LA. I used to drive my what was it? 1993 or 92 Honda Prelude up and down the 405, and I was a graduate student and I was sitting in traffic every day. And I just said, this is not going to be my life. Like I just want something else, something bigger. And I would fantasize and dream about living in a dynamic city, having an apartment with a city view, traveling the world, and doing what I do essentially in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying I've, made it to Forbes top 30, professionals in education. I'm not saying I'm anybody special, but what I am saying is that I had this deep burning desire to become something different. And my life would look and feel different than what was happening around me and to everyone around me. And so this trip, to AUP really reminded me of this beautiful community of educators and students who are going through this this journey of living an international lifestyle. And I just found it so refreshing because the one thing about flying is you connect with professionals, you connect with people, you connect with opportunities, and you just never know where it's going to lead you or what it's going to teach you. And I can genuinely say I had an amazing time. I hadn't been to Paris in 18 years. So when I was last there, I was 18 years old, and so now you can do the math. And getting to see the city and a new environment, it helped me grow again as an individual. Although I had visited a place many years ago, how we look and see our surroundings is going to be very different than it was back, like I said, 18 years ago. So it really taught me a lot, and it helped me actually feel really deeply rooted in gratitude. It really helped me appreciate the abundance of travel opportunities I've been given over the years. I mean, when I talk about university fly-ins, if you're not really familiar with this concept, it's when a university will invite a high school guidance university counselor to visit the campus. And a lot of times they are subsidized by the university, and the university will pay for everything. And you get a few days or 24 to 48 hours, sometimes more, visiting a campus and learning all about it and seeing if it's a good fit for your student population or students that you might have in mind. And then you can talk about the university to them. And I highly, highly recommend this. Uh, I highly recommend becoming familiar with these opportunities, networking, which I'm actually going to do an episode on networking very soon. So, um, you know, make sure that you are reaching out to people where you think you could possibly send kids. Think about a country, think about a location, a city that will help you in your practice, that will help you. Also believe in the mission of the university. Because if you don't believe in the mission of the university and you can't resonate with what they're trying to promote, it's going to be really hard for you to also push it onto your students. What I loved about this school, and I'm not endorsing, they didn't ask me to endorse this, but what I really loved about it was that they kept saying it's a small school and we want international students who want to be uncomfortable. And as soon as those students started talking to us and they had very candid, real, raw conversations about their experiences in both beautiful and the challenges that they faced, I was like, that's me. That was me. I wasn't an international student, but that was me in my professional career early on 10 years ago. Although I've been doing counseling for 15 years, my professional career really started 10 years ago. So um, I understand the growing pains of living in a new place and acclimating and adjusting and trying to get your bearings and grip on everything. So yeah. Um, what I love about fly-ins is that you get to visit the university, you get to network with university counselors from all over the world. That has its benefits. You get to really connect with the campus, or not connect, but you get to connect with the campus. And then you get to take that information back and let it sink in and say, all right, what student's going to be a good fit for this? And it may not happen like straight away, but I do believe that um, as you progress in your career as a university guidance counselor, you are definitely going to have a student that would fit the the mold of what that campus has to offer. Back in November this past year, in 2022 November, I went and visited a number of hospitality schools in Switzerland, and I was actually blown away by the type of schools that hospitality schools offer to students. It's it's really fascinating because it's more in my mind. I didn't value it the same way until I actually saw it. And so again, it helps you reshift your worldview. It helps you reshift like how you perceive things, and it actually um, could be a better fit. I actually had a student who she's so sweet. She she wanted to get a business degree, and she's like, I want to open a restaurant. That's my dream. I love baking. I love cooking. Blah blah blah. And it wasn't until after I came back and I was, like, sitting with her and reviewing some essay for an American university in the US that I realized, like, "Oh my gosh, you should look at a hospitality school. Like, this is perfect for you," because a lot of hospitality schools offer business degrees, and it kind of aligns with all of this. So, long story short, uh, after many conversations, her parents finally came around with this idea of hospitality schools offering business degrees. And I'm super excited because had I not gone and visited these schools, this young lady may have missed out on this particular type of opportunity. So, um, many of you who are probably listening to this, you could possibly relate to what I'm saying. Those of you kind of new to the field or exploring this field, as you start visiting universities, whether it's in your area or internationally. Um, Definitely start thinking about the type of students you currently serve. Definitely start thinking about the type of students that you may have in the future, or the potential schools you want to work out in the future, and those type of student populations. It can be really beneficial, and it's also a great talking point in an interview, in a job interview. You can say you've been to all these campuses, you've seen, and how your knowledge and expertise by just visiting these places can really help the student population at your next potential job or employer or school that you're going to work at. So again, these are really wonderful professional development opportunities. A lot of times they are free, not all the time, but a lot of times they are, or there'll be some up cost fees that you might get reimbursed on. Maybe your school has some professional development money that they can help you subsidize the cost if there is a fee. So don't let money stop you. I remember I went on a trip to the Netherlands in 2018, I believe. It was like a 1 week trip. I went and visited 9 universities, and it was a €500 participation fee plus my airfare. Now, that's a very steep cost. Like, okay, how do I justify this? So I was able to get some professional development money from my school at the time because they give us personal PD money. I was able to put it towards the trip. I think I paid a little bit of the difference, and then I bought my own airfare. Mind you, I didn't have to do that, but because I knew that my population, the numbers were increasing going to Netherlands at the time, I was like, this is going to be worth the investment. And lo and behold, these 5 years later, it was worth the investment because now I can actually say, I've been there. I know what the campus community is like, the city's like, the town is like. I can speak to the university about the university a bit more to families where they trust my professional judgment. So, even if it is a bit of a stretch sometimes, just know that it can pay off later on. And I didn't even think about the money when I came back because I got so much out of the opportunity that it was well worth the investment of the flight. So there you have it. Like I said, I've been to a number of universities all over the world. All you have to do sometimes is just reach out to the reps you already are connected with. You can ask them if they offer fly-ins, when they offer, how do you sign up, or you can just Google. Sometimes I used to, when I didn't know what I didn't know, I would just Google counselor fly-ins, and I had found some online. Let's start with local universities in your area, and also go on your time off. Sometimes going on your time off and not having like an agenda, just going to introduce yourself, seeing the campus, taking photos, um, it can really help you. And it also just shows your own initiative, that you are willing to go above and beyond. And so I would invite you to think about how you can further do that in your free time, like your time off. So there you have it. This topic was a bit all over the place with university fly-ins and this international educator community and student community, and how we really should try to come together and remind ourselves like we're not alone. So if you feel like this episode helped you, and or you feel like it could help another aspiring professional break into this amazing field of international college counseling, please, please, please share this episode with them. And also, I have a really special announcement. I'm super, super excited. So if you've listened this far, thank you, number one. And number two, I am going to be launching my first book. Yes, I'm so over the moon, as you can probably hear in my voice. I'm nervous to say it, actually. So I have been going through the proofreading and editing and designing and all of that fun stuff behind the scenes. And this book was something I had written back in 2018. And then I shelved it. I didn't touch it for a really long time. And it wasn't only until recently I revisited this manuscript that I had written, and I said, you know what, it's actually still really good. I'm gonna see what the proofreader says, the editor says, and get some feedback and go from there. And I'm very proud. It's not a very long book. It's a book that will, I think, help uh, international college counselors in a fun, playful way build on their professional skill sets. So the book is going to be called The Well-Rounded Counselor. Haha, The Well-Rounded Counselor, and its considerations for international university college counselors. So I hope that this short ebook or paperback book, if you want it, it's under 50 pages. So again, it's not super long, and it will come with a small workbook. I hope this book will be something that you could buy for yourself or find a little budget. It won't be actually very expensive because I want it to be accessible for everybody. So I'm really looking forward to that. Please stay tuned for when I do actually launch it. I believe sometime early May, late April, early May, I will launch it. I just am still going through some final revisions. And then once I have an idea around that, then I can announce when I will launch it. So thank you all so much for listening to today's episode. And those that maybe have recently found me or know about me, thank you for staying with me in this beautiful, well-rounded counselor community. And stay tuned for many, many more episodes. And I look forward to catching you all on the next episode. Did you love the episode? I hope you're feeling inspired and no longer feeling alone out there, and you're ready to evolve and become a better person. Make sure that you share this podcast or take a screenshot and post it on your social media. That's how you help spread this podcast organically, and people can find it much easier when you share, or share it with a loved one. I'm your host, Katrina Marie, and make it your mission to be a blessing in someone else's life today.